It's recorded. I'm recording it anyway.
Okay.
All right. New document. So, your first big decision is whether or not you want facing pages. Okay, which is quite handy. And the other one is a primary text frame. So if it's like a book or something like that, it helps to have a primary text frame. It just means that there's always a box there with that will have text and it flows automatically, which is quite nice. That's a relatively new setting. Okay, and obviously what size you want. So let's say we want A3 landscape. Okay. Alright, now InDesign is quite different to like Word in that you design your layout and then you start populating it with information. And so now there's a lot of similarities that you'll see to ArchiCAD, and that we have master documents. Okay, so if we go to the pages, you can see here's our master document. So anything we put on our master appears on all of our other pages. One really cool thing that I use a lot, even if you're not putting anything on your master document, is you can put guides. So like for example, I like to sort of break my page up into visual sort of thirds. You can actually, if you click on one of these, you can go up here and go, come on, 33%. Cool, and it should knock it at 33%, but it hasn't. Oh, because it's gone. Hang on. There you go. Let's do this one. So you go and put it down at the bottom here. Cool, and then you go 33%. Cool, and that's the 1/3 line. I can actually copy that and go to the other page and paste it over there as well, as long as I don't go into text frame. Sorry, paste. Come on, copy, paste. Right. Copy. Paste. No, it's not going to do it. Doesn't matter. I can just do this. Okay. I've probably got multiples on there now, have I? Yeah. Undo. All right. So there's my 1/3 line. Command 0 fits to view. Now if I go to my first page, it's got that guide on it, which is quite handy. Also, let's say we go and put something on here. So page number would be a good idea. Right? So I'm just going to drop a little box down in here, and somewhere in there it's got insert special character. Is it? I always forget what it's called. I'll put the insert variable. Last page number, no, it's somewhere in here, special character, markers, current page number, there we go. Cool. So it says A because it's on the A master, and here it is down here. Nice. Okay, what else can we do? We can put unassigned boxes. So at the moment, right, I've got this big text box in here. So I'm going to drop this down, and again I can do it if I want it a third. I can somehow, if I can remember how to do it. Go to the width and go 33%.
How did you find that different? Like if that number at the bottom, will that change the number for each page on every?
It will, because now you can see on this page it's changed as well. So if I go fill with placeholder text, anything that you change. So if I change anything on the master document, as long as I haven't done what's called an override, see it's going to change on all my other pages as well. As long as I haven't done what's called an override, it will change everything, which is really, really convenient. Now, there's also these unassigned boxes, right? So maybe I've got boxes in here that I don't know what they're going to be. They could be text boxes, they could just be blocks of colour, they could be, all sorts of things. Actually, I want to make these. Now, I'm going to do this slightly wrong as well. There's a really cool thing in here called the gap tool, and you can actually grab things, you can move the gap, and if I hold down the command key I can change the width of the gap, and if you can figure out how to do it numerically, I'll buy you a chocolate fish, because I haven't figured that out yet. So you can see that it's width. You can see it highlights up in the top left there. If but I don't know how to change it numerically. No, as soon as you go to do it, obviously W doesn't do anything. You just can't do anything. Yeah. But also what you'll find is that, like, see, if I start adjusting this, you can see that when it gets to 12.7, it matches this width over here. And that's one of the real secrets to good design, is having the same gaps between everything, aligning as many things as you possibly can. So it's great having guides in there, so you've got this visual thing to align to. If you hold down the Option key, it will drag a copy, but it's a little bit different to ArchiCAD. You've got to have Option key down when you do the drag. You can't touch it afterwards. So again, I can go through with my little gap tool here, and it's not going to let me because there's no gap there whatsoever. I'd also, if you bring it down, is it going to show me? No, that's right. Oops. Hold down the Shift key so it doesn't move. You can grab that gap tool. See, and because they're aligned, it's figured out. It's kind of annoying. Command does that. Option moves the entire thing. Just clicking it moves just the gap. See, so what I want to do is go Command until I get the 12.7. Cool. And then I'm going to move the entire gap back up so that it lines up there, and I've got it all aligned. I'll show you another. This is before they had the gap tool. What I used to do is go into the preferences, and you can go to units and increments, and it's got here, see the cursor key? So if I want a 5mm gap between everything, what I would do is change this to 5mm, and then all I do is go, cool, I want this and this, right? I'm going to drag a copy and line it up like that, and then I just go 5mm, 10mm, excellent. Yeah, which I find a hell of a lot easier. Yeah, 10mm gap, yeah. So that's what I used to do before there was a gap tool. If you hold down the Shift key, it goes 5, I think it is, or 10, I can't remember now. Yeah, so it goes 10 units, and this goes to be 50mm. So I could set it to 0.5mm, and then it'll be, if I hold down the Shift key, it will be 5mm. Right? Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, so once these unassigned boxes though, right? So I haven't done a very good job of this really, because I should have actually got things fitting in there nicely. And because there's my 1/3 gap. So if I go, I'm going to grab another guide, pop it down to the bottom, change that to 66%. Cool. Now obviously, see that needs to be pulled up 5mm. In fact, what's probably easier if I just grab that. So if I wanted a 10mm gap, I move that up 5mm. See, now if I want to grab the tops of these, right, this select tool grabs entire objects, whereas this select tool grabs components of things. So I can grab just these top pieces and then move them down. I can also skew it, yeah, and do all that sort of carry on. I can't nudge that over now because I've gone and changed my increments, but it's alright, I can grab that line and snap it to there. Oops. Hold the Shift keys, eh? There we go. Excellent. So that's all nice. Again, if I wanted to do the same thing to this side, I can line that up with that, hold down the Shift so it doesn't move. And then I'm going to knock it back 10mm. Cool. There's all sorts of ways of doing this. Okay, so now I'm going to drag a copy, and I'm going to go to there and then move it down to there. Obviously my design's not quite working. Why is that? Probably because my gap is to the top of the page, which doesn't really work, which means I need this gap to be 12.7, otherwise that's 12.7, so that should be 12.7, 12.7, etc, etc. Anyway, let's say that's what I wanted to go with. So now you can see over here, I've got all these unassigned boxes, and I can't do anything with them. I can't touch them. Same thing with the guide, I can't adjust anything. However, if you hold down Command Shift, you can click on one of these and it pulls it off the master document. So now I could go, right, that one there I actually want to be, I don't know, maybe it's just going to be a green box for some reason. This one here, I can go Shift. Now, if I want my text from here to flow into here, see this little guy here? If I click on him, I can go flow into there.
And then automatically turns it into a text box.
Yeah, and so now my text from here flows into the next box. Cool, and I could say, yeah, and then I want you to flow into this text box. Oops, undo, sorry. Got to Command Shift click him to pull him off the master document. And so now if I go fill with placeholder text, because placeholder text is so nice. Cool, and so now it flows into that box. And maybe this box here is going to be an image. So I can go, if you go Command D or File Place, oops, and we find a picture. Ching. If you go right click on it, you can go, there's a few fitting options, right? So I can go fitting, fill frame proportionally would be quite a good idea. So that means that it won't distort my image. Okay, but it is cropping it off. See, if I click with this tool, I can actually see where it's cropping it off. So I can move that around. So again, it's the same sort of thing as how ArchiCAD has that frame and then there's an image inside it. And you can adjust this. Be careful because of course you can distort it. Hold down the Shift key and it will move proportionally. Cool. So now my, there's that. All right.
Oh, it's the adjusted one that you did.
Yeah. Now, I'm not 100% sure. Now, I haven't changed things like the size of those boxes. So in theory, if I adjust this box, and let's say I wanted it to do that, it should increase it. If I had adjusted that box though manually, it'll override it and it won't be linked to the master document anymore. So you've got to be a little bit careful in what you adjust and what you don't adjust. So if you adjust something, it's better to go undo. Even then, I don't know. So if I go like that, right, and then I go, see now when I go and adjust this box, I'll have, see it doesn't connect because I've overridden it. And if I go undo, was it? Yeah. See, because I went undo. So if you do something you didn't mean to, just do undo and it should fix it. Alright. Which is great because it means you can have like a style and then you can say, right, I like everything on this page, but I want this image rotated. Yeah. And so you can do that.
And that just only affects that page where it's all sitting perfectly.
Exactly. If I rotate it on the master, it would rotate everywhere.
Which you don't.
Not in this case, no. Alright. Yeah. To what level though? If I go and change the size of this, will it? Yes, it does. See, because I changed the rotation, didn't change the size. So it's very clever. Alright, yeah, I'm going a little bit off topic. Okay, the other big thing with InDesign are styles. And there's lots of styles. I'd start off with paragraph styles. There's a big difference between paragraph styles and character styles. Character styles is when you highlight a word and you change it individually. So that's where like you would make bold something bold. Okay? Whereas a paragraph style is pretty much, that gets applied to everything. It's your text. So you want to avoid character styles whenever possible because otherwise you get too many layers of things controlling text. Alright, so I'm going to create a basic, now usually what I do is I leave basic paragraph style and I create one that's just called normal. and I base everything on normal. And the only thing I really would set in here, possibly the font. But one thing I definitely do is I'd set the language in here, so make sure that's English UK, otherwise your spelling checker will be wrong. And possibly the font, like the basic font, so maybe Helvetica, let's say, Helvetica Nui, cool, regular. And that's about it really.
And the size, would you leave the size regional?
Yeah, possibly, yeah. This is like the most, so, and I might not even use that style, but whatever I change in that style, I'm going to base everything on it, so it's going to ripple through the entire document. So, there you could set size. But now I'm going to do a new paragraph style, right? And this is going to be called heading, let's say. Cool. And our heading, is based on normal. So that means it's going to be anything that normal is. So in this case, Helvetica. But it's going to be, I don't know, let's say Helvetica bold. No. Whenever you're making these decisions, you've got certain things. So you can make things bigger. So that's what basically bold is. You can make them physically larger. You can change the colour. All of those things will bring attention. What you don't want to do is go and make it bigger, bolder and coloured, because then it's just leaping out of the page. And maybe you have a reason for it, but whatever it is, when you do your layout, is you decide what do you want people to look at first, and what should they be looking at last, and you just rank it. And so the amount of space you put around it, how big it is, its colour, all that sort of thing, its angle. So by tilting that image, I bring attention to it. So people will probably see that first. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to apply heading to this first paragraph. Actually, I don't want it to be that entire paragraph. It's going to be that one there. Cool. And then that's going to be normal. Well, this stage normal. Cool. And then I'm going to go new paragraph style. And I actually might call this paragraph 1. Okay. And now this is where I want to get a little bit fancy. So maybe I've got like a left indent of 5mm. Hit preview, you can actually see what's happening. Cool. And I also want, after each of my paragraphs, most people do a double return. Not a cool idea. You do space after. Alright. So now I can apply all that to all those paragraphs. It's paragraph 1. Cool. So when I finish my paragraph, it automatically puts a space in there. The reason you don't want to do a double return is that quite often you'll end up with that extra return at the top of a page or a column or something like that, and you go through and remove them, and you text, and then you end up with the gap disappearing. The other cool thing is, if I don't like this gap, or perhaps, oh shit, it's not quite fitting on the page, I can go into my indents and spacing and change it.
So we take it down to 3.
Yeah, or increase it. The other thing is as well, is that if I know, remember I was using 5mm gaps and 10mm gaps? It means I can actually control how that looks, which is pretty cool. Now, I'll show you another cool trick. This heading, right, it doesn't always work, but we can do a column span. I don't think it's going to work in this case because it's not columns. No. Actually, I'll show you. Normally, in this sort of case, if I had like a box like this, I would probably actually use columns. One big rule is that you don't want your lines of text getting more than 8 to 12 words. As soon as you get more than 8 to 12 words wide, it becomes difficult to read. And you probably notice when you get like big pages of text, and you read it and you come back and you lose your place, and you start reading the same line again, or you skip a line. Also, it's kind of if you're reading a text and it's not too wide, you feel like you're making a lot of progress through that text really fast. And it's a lot easier, a lot nicer to look at. If this text box is too wide, it just looks hideous.
So it's about a third of the page, roughly.
Yeah, about 8 to 12 words. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Excellent. Cool. But yeah, you don't want big, wide bodies of text. Actually, I'm just going to rearrange this. Actually, I'm going to do something kind of funky with this. And I'll make that come out to here, and I'll make this 2 columns, right? See, because I've gone and changed all this, it's all screwed it up. In fact, what I won't do is I'm just going to trash this whole page because I don't really care about it anyway. Oh, create a new page. You always have to have one page for some reason. All right. Fill with placeholder text. Cool. Okay, and there's my. Actually, one thing I'll show you as well. Heading, right? Based on normal, the next style I can say is paragraph 1. That means if I do heading, hit return, it will automatically change to paragraph 1. Alright. Okay, so now what I was saying before, if I go and change the span to span columns, see it goes and creates a gap on the other side, which is very, very nice. Yeah, and that means now if I go, let's make the actual character a little bit bigger. Cool. Another one is as well, it's hyphenation. Don't use it unless you really have to. Yeah, and you can see it's overdoing it by default. So you could say, well, let's say don't hyphenate. Why is it still hyphenated? Oh, because it's the heading. For one, don't hyphenate the heading. So this is actually a good case of where I should actually change it in normal, because everything's based on normal. Where are we? Hyphenation. So let's just switch it off. Okay. Oh, now see, I know what's happened. Paragraph 1 should be based on normal. Yeah. Oh, that's because this is not. That's paragraph 1. There we go. Yeah, and we've got our. Oops. The reason I keep that basic paragraph is kind of I can always go back to a default. All right. So now the problem with if you don't have hyphenation is you can see how raggedy it is now. So hyphenation is great, and that it cleans up everything, but yeah. Yeah, well, justification. There is a thing in here called balance ragged lines. Now you can see I've got a larger gap though, but I've got a nicer form. Justified text isn't great for big bodies of text because again you lose your place in the text, and you can also see how it's increasing the spacing in places. Now there are rules for that, and you can play around with it. Where are we?
So do you want to choose to
indents and space?
fix the ragged edge of it?
Yeah. See, I would always use left justify, and yeah, it just depends on your layout. I think I could live with it. Remember, this faux Latin is quite good because it does kind of simulate normal sentence structure. But yeah, you can use that if you had to. But I would avoid using less justify because it does become difficult to read, and you don't want people struggling to read your text.
What I was just trying to do over that is I put a text box on the master, and then I try to paste it in the normal page. I didn't want to paste it into that.
So, oh, you mean into one? So it was it like these dotted lines?
Yeah, so it was a text box in the master, but then yeah, it's just dotted lines there.
Yeah. So what you do is go Command Shift and click on it, and it pulls it off the master. Cool. And so then, and if you go and change, as soon as you go and hit text in there, it's going to change it into a text box, and you can go paste. Not that I've got anything to paste, but. Yeah. Ideally, you should have these flying from one text box to the next. Okay, the reason you want to do that is it means that all of your text should flow beautifully. So if you go and start reorganizing stuff, it's all going to flow properly. But I mean, if it's an excerpt or something like that, yeah, by all means. But yeah, and also that means that you can say, well, actually, this here, this is my heading, right? Let's say this here is a heading as well. Okay. What I can say is that headings. So it's got keep. Where is it? Keep options. For one, I can say keep with the next couple of lines because I don't want a heading at the bottom of my page. Okay, so again, what it'll do if the text is flowing is it will force it to go onto the next page. And say keep all lines in the paragraph at the start and the end of the paragraph, etc. So it keeps the title together if it was had multiple lines. Start paragraph and next column. Cool. So it goes straight to the next column and away it goes. Have I got a? So if I went and made, let's say, that's a heading, okay, heading, and it ends up over there, which it shouldn't have, it should have ended up. Spin, where are we? Keep. Oh, next page, anywhere. That's a bit strange, it should have ended up in the next column. But yeah, but very handy. So you can have like chapter heading. As soon as you hit chapter heading, it'll create a new page and throw it onto the next page. And so if you went and fed too much information into one text box and it needs to push onto another page, it'll push the next chapter onto another page. So, and it just keeps everything together. Once you've got a really good style put together, it's really, really...
On the master page, can you set it up so that
completely...
it flows without you having to do it every time? Or?
Yeah, in fact, if I... yeah, I've kind of ruined mine, I think. Because I've gone and deleted somehow the original master text. That thing there. Somehow I've gone and deleted this one over here. Let's just go and drop a new one in here. Cool. And this is going to have 3 columns, let's say. And now this should be flowing into this. I think because I've been playing with it so much. I should find that if I go and create a new page. No, I've gone and messed with it too much. Oh, that's because I've gone and run this page, haven't I?
If you did another new page, it would be on the page 1 master.
Yeah. I see it. But yeah, I've gone and deleted the original one. It's not a big deal though. Yeah, linking the pages up. Anyway, just in case you're wondering as well, on Momus, it's got all the previous lectures on this. So I'm just trying to, and I go through all of the paragraph styles and what they do. But what I will tell you is, let's say we want to place an image, right? So Command D, here's our sports field. Now, currently you'll notice that it just goes straight over the top of everything. So what you can do is you can go and wrap around the box, and you can see now it's actually wrapping around this box. And actually with any of these settings, including paragraph styles and character styles and all that sort of stuff, paragraph settings and object settings and all the things in this box, if you're anything like me, you'll probably find that actually going to styles, object styles, is much more logical because it's got all of the settings in here for objects. Okay, rather than having to figure out what all these funny little icons mean and all I want to do is put a space around it, you can actually go, insert space, top, bottom, left, right. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I can. Well, actually, this doesn't make much sense because it's not a text box. Where am I? Frame, baseline. Auto fit images into it. Text wrap and others. Here we go. So here's my offset. So I can increase my offset. I'll turn preview on. I'll be able to actually see what's going on. Okay, and so now I can actually see so it's offsetting the text from that box. And I'm going to call this picture. Cool. The cool thing with that is means that the next time I go Command D and I go and place a new image in there, cool, I can just go to my styles and go, it's a picture. Boom. Okay. You can by all means use these, and then once you've got it about right, you create a new style and it'll be all based on whatever you have selected. So that's why I did the wrap. The other thing as well, I see this little guy here is anchor. I can anchor. It's not going to let me, is it? No. I should be able to anchor this text to the document, which basically just means that if I move the text, it will move with the image will move with the text. Sorry, say again?
I was talking to Dennis and he said that when you go to submit something,
yeah,
you need to package.
Press package and
Oh, yeah.
hold your links.
If you're going to submit something, you'd spit it out as a PDF.
Yeah. You package it and then you export
Yeah.
it as a PDF.
So packaging. So remember, like in ArchiCAD, right? We've got everything's all linking to like your texture libraries and all that sort of carry on, and which is great because it means you can edit the files. Same thing here, right? So this is linked. In fact, if I go to my links, you can see this image here is linked to blah 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 blah, and I can actually see where that is. And that's fine as long as I'm working on this computer and I can have it linking to everything. But kind of at the end of a project, when you go package, what it does is it goes and grabs all of those images from wherever they are and puts it all into one place. So it creates a new InDesign document, grabs all of your images, possibly I think your fonts as well that it's used, and it puts it all into a folder, which is cool. But you don't. I mean, if you're in the middle of doing a project, it's kind of useless because it means that you've now got 2 copies of all those images, which means if you go and edit an image, you've got to remember to go and update that one in the packaged version as well. Yeah, which is not cool. So, but if you're moving computers, brilliant. If you're, so if you're going somewhere else, you just want to, right, I just need everything. I need to go to another computer, so you can package it all up. It'll create a copy of it.
Go away. Like between here and home, that would be the way to do it, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, but again, I would probably, if I was working on a project, I'd have, renders, Photoshop renders and all that sort of carry on, and I'd just be linking to those documents, so I don't have to think about it. And if the link gets broken, I can always re-link anyway. And say, well, actually, that image is moved, or it's a new image or whatever. It's like, oh no, actually, I'm going to use this one here now. Maybe not that one. Maybe this one. That one, cool, and I go open, and it relinks it.
So I'll do that at the end of the project, but how would you track it? Where is packaging?
Just go file package.
I didn't remember why you did it. We got told last year we had to, so I did.
Yeah, but yeah, if you are doing so if we did have the InDesign assignment still, I would say you have to package it because I need to be able to see all the links and all that sort of thing.
Right.
It does save a crappy version of the image, and in fact that's what you're looking at, and this is a crappy version of the image. When you go...
If it's preview, you can't get to see it. Is there one? Can you?
yeah, or if you go Object, is it View, Display Performance, High Quality Display, then you're actually seeing...
What you're going to see printed.
Yeah, but it doesn't, you don't have to do that before you go to print or whatever because it will use the high quality versions. But you'd always go to your PDF. So if we had a high quality print, which actually is badly named. So let's say I'm going to put that on my desktop, right? Call it Shishnishna. So you can see everything that's going to pump out. Now what it does, because we've got all these images, if you imagine if you took like your AO Photoshop document that was 300 dpi and you shrunk it down to a thumbnail, all of a sudden you've got like about probably a 50,000 dpi image sitting on your page. And if you've done that 5 times, you don't want the originals in there because you wouldn't be able to open the document. Okay, so when you go and export it to PDF, what it will do is it's actually going through and it's so you can see here, color images will be down-res from 450 so anything that's above 450 dpi, it'll drop it down to 300 dpi. Okay, so you could go, well, actually that's a bit over the top. Let's say 350. Anything above 350, you can drop to 250. Okay, that means if it's 300, won't touch it. Okay, be a pain in the ass thing. Okay. Now it's also going to compress it with Jpeg compression, which, if you guys are doing plans and things like that, is not cool. So I would say use zip compression. So that's a lossless compression. Grayscale images, because you've got a third of the information, you could say, well, actually, I'm quite happy with 350 dpi. Yeah, for anything that's, yeah, okay, whatever. Okay, and again, use zip compression. Monochrome is black or white. So it's really cool for like pencil drawings and things like that. In fact, you get if you get large documents scanned, it will be a bitmap, not to be confused with Windows bitmap. And they can be really, really, really high res. In fact, they have to be really high res because what will happen when you go to print is there'll be tiny little black dots on your page. Okay, so there's no grey. There's just little black dots, but it's really cool for like line drawings and things like that. It's really cool if you're needing to put something into like ArchiCAD to trace over. If you've scanned it at a really, really high resolution, you can zoom all the way in. You can see exactly where 2 lines cross and things like that.
If you scan something, do you want to scan it like TIFF, JPEG, PDF? Do it the other way?
TIFF generally, yeah. JPEG, remember, you're always going to lose quality.
I tried doing it TIFF and then putting it on Photoshop. I couldn't edit it.
Oh, it's probably just your background layer or something like that. Just rename the background and it works. But anyway, so it's also got things like printer marks. So if you did like, you know, some kind of weird square shaped page layout, but you're printing it out onto A3s, and then you're going to cut it later on, that's where you come in here and you can put in all the crop marks and everything. You probably don't need colour bars. Let's put it on anyway so you can see. Yeah, don't worry about that at this stage.
Did you do the compression that it had a different one at the bottom?
Yeah, that's because
it's...
it's...
just leave that one?
Yeah. That's, yeah.
You just don't worry what it chooses
Yeah,
the right
it's just,
thing.
yeah. Monochrome, the cool thing with it is it's basically, colour image is 24-bit.
Yeah.
This is 1-bit. So it means that it has 1/24th of the information in the file. So that's why we can go really high res, because we're not too worried it's not going to produce a huge document. And what's the chances that you got them? Pretty slim anyway. Okay, so now it's going to spit out my PDF. Now it does actually, somewhere there's a little activity viewer, because it does it in the background, and it's really...
Sometimes you go to close your file and it says, I can't close this.
Yeah.
It's still making.
And somewhere, here you go, background task, utilities background task, so you can see it's actually finished already. If you bring that up, you can actually see what it's doing. It can be kind of disconcerting. Yeah, no, nothing happened. You go to open the document and the document doesn't open. Cool. So there it is. See, so it's got, see, so these are those registration marks and everything, but these are the crop ones. Usually I just have the crop marks on. Sometimes I pull it away a bit, so that means I can put line my ruler up and go zzz. Line my ruler up. Zzz.
So you ended up with 3 pages and you end up with document.
Cool. Alright. I'll show you some cool stuff. Now this has got more to do with titles and things like that. What you can do is, so I'm going to grab the type tool. Hang on. Let's just create a new page. Pages, new page, and I'm going to put none on there, so it's actually got no. Go away. Okay, so here's a big bit of text. Okay. Land 6230. Let's make it huge. Oh, actually one thing. See at the moment I've got this massive text box and I don't need it. So I can go fit frame to content. Plop. Now, if I get the keyboard commands right, I think it's Command Shift. And I can actually just make that entire text larger. Matthew wanted to know that. See? And you can rotate it and all that sort of carry on. Command Shift. So yes, the trick is you go fit frame to content, and then away you go. Alright, now check this out. I'm going to go type, create outlines. Now what that means is that this is now no longer text. In fact, it is an image, well, yeah, a vector graphic if you like. And here's a really cool thing. If I go and select this, right, and go Command D to place, I can place an image inside there, and I can give the outside a bit of a stroke. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. And the cool thing is this is all vector imagery, so there's no pixels. Well, there is in the image, but my text is still nice and crisp and clean, and it looks pretty cool. Now, you can also do, well, solid element operations is what you guys are used to calling them. Hang on. Colour, fill, which is black, and no outline. Right. It is actually. So actually, I'm just going to create, and let's say I want to chop the top off my. Cool. Select the two boxes, and it's called, what is it called? Pathfinder. Subtract. So I've just gone and chopped the top of my image off. I noticed also my picture doesn't quite fit in there anymore. There we go. Okay, so you can do subtractions and extrusions and all that sort of carry on. I can rotate this image somehow. There is a rotate tool in here. There you go. It's being a pain in the ass. Maybe the brick texture is square. There we go. I could scale this down a little bit as well.
So you're just adjusting the texture of that.
Yeah. And if I decide, actually I don't like that image, so here it is here, I can go, let's relink to that other brick. Where is that other brick? This one. Excellent. That's better. Cool. You can do subtraction, so like if I wanted to do, let's say I had a text box, right? Oh, I thought it was placeholder text. Oh, come on. It's because I've been playing around too much, isn't it? Oh, it's placeholder text. There we go. Because there's a heading, so it applied heading to everything. So I can also go and, if I want to go and take, let's say, this big chunky square box. So again, I just select the two, object pathfinder subtract. Ching. Okay, so now it's got like a.
But it didn't lose the text, did it?
No.
It just cut the shape in the text.
I mean, yeah, and I can adjust this a little bit more if I wanted to as well.
Could you also make the text go over the black at that point into height?
Yes. So you mean, yeah, okay, yep. So if I go text, right? 15, fill frame, and I need another box. Now I want to do these two, and I'm going to say object pathfinder exclude overlap. No, forgot to change this to overlap, but to, what do you call it? Outlines. That's better. U and U. There we go. Object pathfinder exclude overlap.
So you turn the first one to what?
I had to create outlines, so because then it's the shapes rather than text box.
So you couldn't have words like your placeholder text crossing the black box and change from black to white. You had your block of text and you put your black shape on it, would your block of text change colour?
You would probably just use.
Oh, that's clever.
Yes, if I go. Fill with placeholder text. I would probably use a layer effect. Hang on. Effects like. Difference? Not really. No, it doesn't.
I just wondered if it would do that.
That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, because if it
Could
was.
overlay and become the dominant thing on the front. If it arranged in front, would it show? Or would you have to, for the bit that showed, you actually select it and change the inverse colour?
Yeah, I don't think there's.
Don't worry, it's it was
Let's
just
see, if that was.
it was just a thought.
That was outlines, would it work? Yeah. See, if it's outlines, it would. Well, I'm not sure why it's orange. See, outlines kind of suck because you can't edit the text. It becomes an object.
That's right, it doesn't matter.
Range, bring to front. No. See, because it's interesting. It doesn't actually. Oh wait, hang on. Sorry. Wait a second. Exclusion 100%. It still doesn't work. Kind of annoying, but anyway. Anything else? But yeah, otherwise have a look at those videos and you'll see lots of stuff.